If you are between the ages of 16 and 24 and you genuinely feel like you can't compete effectively against the older men in the sexual and dating marketplace, then this video is for you. Hi, I'm Jason Michael, and we're going to be talking today about the things that you have as an advantage if you are a younger guy in the dating game. As in, you're in your late teens, you're in your early 20s, and you're looking for a way to have an edge over guys who are richer than you, buffer than you, bigger than you, wiser than you, more experienced than you, etc. So what I've compiled here is a list of things that I feel like you have in abundance in your late teens and early 20s that you can use to effectively compete in the dating and sexual marketplace. Pay close attention. There are 5 things in total. So it's top 5 things in no particular order, okay? So we're going to go. Number 1. The first thing you have in abundance over most people older than you, sex appeal. If you're in your late teens and early 20s, you can compete very effectively in the sexual and dating marketplace off the strip of sex appeal alone. Looking good is easy for you at this age. Looking amazing and sexually appealing to pretty much all women of any age is incredibly easy. And for the most part, you're probably starting out like in your fitness journey, going to the gym and all of that for the first time, which means you're going to make those sweet newbie gains, and they're going to be exponential as fuck. So I would take advantage of that, go to the gym, get you a solid workout regimen, a workout routine, get you a program or a course that can really help you to go through that and get the kind of aesthetic build and physique that you've always wanted, because at this age it is very easily, very quickly achievable. The next thing you have that is a major advantage that's kind of tied to the first thing is energy. You have lots of energy. Okay, there's one thing I hear all my mentors that are older men, far older than me. I'm 27, by the way. I have mentors that are in their 50s. I have a mentor in his 60s. If there's one thing they always tell me they envy about me is how much energy that I have compared to them. They would tell stories about how they were my age and all the crazy adventures they were on. And it takes energy to go on meaningful adventures. When you're young, you have so much energy. You have the energy to care, to give a fuck, the energy to spend and waste on pretty much anything. Energy is important and such a useful resource that diminishes over time. So now that you're young, you have all the energy in the world to do anything you want, including get girls. See, it's easy to compete at your age with all this excessive energy because you're competing with guys that don't have nearly as much energy as you do. They don't have the energy to go out on those many dates as you do. They don't have the energy to be on your phone as long, to text all these girls, to call all these girls. They do not have the energy to clap as many cheeks as you do, so use that to your advantage. If you're younger and you're trying to compete in the sexual and dating marketplace, you're inevitably competing with guys who are far older than you, but you have more energy, guaranteed. Number 3, and I think this is something that's very underrated, so pay very close attention. You have the ability to take risks with no consequence, man. Like, you can make all the mistakes you want right now, as many as you like. And you have the mind to take those risks. So it's not just the fact that you can take those risks, it's the fact that you haven't been taught by life to be cautious or careful at all. So you probably are very reckless and rebellious and nonchalant about consequences in general. You see, I like to use fighting as an analogy to explain that a lot. What you notice with some really great fighters as they age, as they go through, battle after battle, they make a mistake here and there. They become very cautious and very careful about their approach over time. When you're still young and reckless and you're willing to take all kinds of unimaginable risks, you're in a better mental position and headspace than someone who has to approach game very carefully. Risk-taking is the spice of game. Quick side rant, but I've always thought it was weird that for whatever reason, pre-selection and social proof were always taught to be the most important attraction switches. They were always taught to be the most important prerequisites for attraction. And yes, they are important, but I've always maintain that the most important attraction switch is your ability to take risk. Risk taking is where real game is played. Everything you have to do to be successful at anything in any realm of endeavor in life will take some degree of risk and your ability to push through resistance. Have the balls and the gall to do so consistently. So risk taking is such a powerful frame to come from. Such a powerful tool to have, and especially if you're someone that's nonchalant and generally don't care about the consequences, aka you're super young in the game, you have this in the bag, man. You have this in abundance and far more than anyone that's far older than you has, okay? Now, next point. The next point kind of ties into the last one about risk-taking, but you have a generally fresh perspective about how the game works, which means you probably haven't gone through a lot game-wise, which is a good and a bad thing. A bad thing because you need experience in the lowest points in your game so that you can know how to improve better. But at the same time, it's a good thing because you haven't gone out of your way to learn unnecessarily bad habits. You haven't gone out of your way to learn easily avoidable mistakes. You see this a lot with guys that join all kinds of weird groups and belief systems out there, from like the MGTOWs who think it's a good idea to just stay away from women in general, which I can break down for a whole different other video. That's a dumb idea. That's like saying I'm gonna get good at basketball by not playing basketball at all. Stupid. Or you have like the black pills who take a very small portion of game, looks and aesthetics, and amplify it to look like it's the entirety of game, which again makes no sense at all. When you're young, you most likely haven't had to go through anything that'll force you into these weird belief systems and pretty much change the trajectory of your learning curve in the game. It's a good thing you haven't been tarnished or blemished by these weird belief systems out there. And hopefully you run into a guy like me that can show you how not to waste your time and know what to focus on in the game off rip. By the way, I have a free course that goes over the fundamentals of game. It is about 3 hours long total. Link in the bio. So the next point is time. You have an abundance of time. And that kind of works in two different ways. One, you have a lot of time ahead of you, as in you have a lot to look forward to. You haven't chopped up as much time as someone that's, for instance, in their 40s. At the same time, though, you have a lot of time on a day-to-day basis. That means you probably don't have the same levels of commitments and duties and responsibilities as someone that would be older. Especially those of you that are just fresh out of high school, still in college, or brand new into the workforce. You're probably doing just enough to keep yourself and your loved ones alive, but then you have a massive pocket of time that you can use to dedicate to whatever you feel like. This is a blessing in disguise, and honestly, no matter how any of us get told this at a young age, we all still end up regretting not using more of that time more. Okay? I was told at a very young age to use my time wisely. I was 18 when I was first told by a mentor to use my young time wisely, and I used it to, in my opinion, the best of my abilities. But looking back, I could have definitely done even better. I think we all feel that way to some degree, for those of us that are a little older. So that's the list. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next time.